it's good to have you going down the road with us. We got a lot planned today. The governor of the great state of North Dakota is going to come on. We're going to get a chance to visit with Doug Burgum. We're also going to head to NDSU and talk about vaccinations. The big question, of course, is when are we going to open up? You know, everybody's looking at that July 4th, and I saw a tweet from Amy Klobuchar today where she talked about how close Minnesota was to 70%, and of course, we've been told by and for a long time that 70% is the goal for herd immunity. So many people think, as do I, that Memorial Day you're not going to hold them back. People are going to say, it's summer, we're off, we're running. I've been vaccinated, but we'll see. I guess time is going to tell on that. We all know what's happening in the South. We're looking at gasoline shortages. We're looking at a situation where people are in line. You might ask the question, did we all learn anything from the so-called shortage of toilet paper? But this one is, it's definitely affecting lives and it's affecting prices. Nick Powers is with Uncommon. Now, Nick is a cybersecurity expert, and he's good enough to give us some of his time. Nick, good to have you coming down the road with us.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Joel, for having me today.
So how did we get there? How did we get to the point where a pipeline that supplies gasoline has to be the cause? This is just one artery. To just the cyber side of this, how did we get to where this would shut that down?
Yeah, so actually it's kind of interesting. What actually happened was the criminals attacked Colonial's headquarter operations. So think more like their email systems, their accounting systems, their IT systems of the things that we do for day-to-day business. They were able to get a ransomware payload into those headquarter operations. And Colonial had a decision to make. They typically, on industrial control systems, such as ones used by the pipeline, isolate those and they prevent those from really being connected to these business systems. But in a lot of cases now, we're seeing those systems kind of be connected, getting data off the pipeline, how they're operating, what the throughput is, and things like that. And so Colonial said, you know what, even though we have firewalls in place, we have protections in place, we're going to shut down the pipeline to protect it, because if ransomware were to get into that system, we're talking, instead of being down a week, probably down months and months, which would be absolutely devastating. And so Colonial actually took the kind of got ahead of this and said, hey, let's shut down the pipeline. Let's get our IT systems, in good shape. We'll bring the FBI in and we'll clean everything up, and then we'll turn everything back on. So the pipeline isn't actually infected, as far as we know, but it was a precautionary measure that they took.
So everybody's always talking about cybersecurity and how aggressive we supposedly have gotten to cybersecurity. What happened here? Why wouldn't something as important as a gas line be this valuable?
This is happening all over the place. Hospitals, police departments, other infrastructure parts of America. This is not isolated to industrial control systems of our gas pipelines. This is a phenomenon that has been occurring for at least backwards of 2016, 2017. We've seen a marked increase in these types of attacks, which are called ransomware attacks. In the last 6 months, we've seen those attacks increase by upwards of 31%. So this isn't something that has, it's not a new phenomenon, but it is a new phenomenon to have a group, which the group that orchestrated this attack is called DarkSide. They actually are selling their services as a platform. You actually, if I wanted to be a nefarious actor, I could actually contact them, say, hey, I want to go hit, Joel. He's got all this money and I want to take him down, and they'll give you the tools to go do it.
So, okay, DarkSide, Nick, were they known about before this all happened? Or do we just know about DarkSide and what their goals and what their ambitions and what their business is now?
It's a lot more prominent now. Based on what we know, they've really appeared in 2020. And what we think they are is a conglomeration of several other offshoots of ransomware creators that all came together to build this platform. So it's only really roughly been around for a little over a year, but this is actually definitely going to put them on the map.
Yeah, I have no doubt about that. Nick, in my previous world, before I started working in radio and TV, I managed what we up here call a rural water district. So we had 2,800 miles of water line, and we served a number of communities and a number of farms and ranches and those type of things. And I was always worried about cyber attack. I was always worried about that because to me, one of the things that was the most underestimated was the power grid and the water system. And we could get up, I could go in my house, troubleshoot problems, turn pressures up, all of those type of things. So it begs this question: why make people wait for gasoline when they have a home, and why not hit something like a water system or a power system?
It really comes down to money. And it's interesting when you pull, if you look at the two main areas of the world that are attacking people, you have Russia, and they're typically the folks that are coming out of that space are very, very concerned with money. And so it's all about how much money does somebody have. And with Colonial, they do about $15 billion a year in revenue. So they have a lot of money. And so I can ask them to pay a $10 million, a $20 million ransom. And you know what? It's like a drop in the bucket. So they're not going to go after, you're not going to see major attempts to go after rural communities typically. But I will say, in the last 2 weeks, we've had 5 calls to my company Uncommon where local police departments, local agencies, local nonprofits have been hit by ransomware, and they've been asked to pay anywhere from, $500 up to $5,000 to decrypt their files. So, it is happening more and more. And then the second side of that equation is kind of the folks from Asia, right? The Chinese are very concerned about intellectual property. So when they attack, we're actually seeing them lay low. We're not seeing them cause damage. We're not seeing them ask for ransoms. They're just in your system, stealing your secrets and learning how to build the next best microwave or learning how your water systems work. That's really what they want to do, so they can copy it and bring it into their country. So it really depends on who's driving the attacks, but money's a big motivator right now from the European side of the house.
So, Nick, with everything that you know at Uncommon and what you've worked so hard on, can you catch them? Can you track it back, and whether it's work with the FBI, whether it's work with whoever, can you catch these guys?
You can. We've actually worked with the FBI on several occasions, particularly with robocalling, and kind of worked to develop ways of identifying and finding people that are willing to raise their hand and say, hey, this is where this operation is and whatnot. With cybersecurity, within the United States, we have a lot of control, and folks that are hacking in the U.S., they get found pretty quickly. They may go a year or two, but at the end of the day, the FBI is going to find them. The big issue that we have here today is international cooperation, right? So, if we had to go arrest a international cyber criminal in Russia, the likelihood that that's going to happen is very low. But if we have to work across the ocean with, our European compatriots like in England, France, Spain, and whatnot, there is some international cooperation there that can allow us to do that. But what we really are seeing now is everything's being moved into countries that U.S. doesn't have, the ability to go in and tap. And so it really comes down to U.S. companies have to be more vigilant in how they're protecting their resources.
So you mentioned ransom, and you mentioned ransom in terms of dollars as low as a couple thousand, and you mentioned it as high as billions or millions. So I got to ask you, do these folks ever pay it, and we just don't know about it?
Yeah, absolutely, they are paying it. It definitely boils down to a business decision for the companies. I'm not saying that Colonial will pay it. The FBI is involved there, but the little mom and pops that get hit by these things, it's easier to pay a $500 ransom in Bitcoin than it is to try to, unwrap what's happened and feel secure about what you're doing. We were called in a few months back for a mom and pop, and we got in there, and our first question is, and this is something that everybody needs to be thinking about, is where are your backups? Because the first thing I need to do is restore you from your backups, and then you won't have to pay the ransom. And the company CEO was like, oh, yeah, we got that. We had a company set that up a few years ago for us. It's over there in that closet, Nick. And I went over and opened the closet, and in there was a really nice little server, and it wasn't even powered on, Joel. So their backups were not being created unbeknownst to them, and we were not able to restore them from backups. And so our next step was, hey, Mr. CEO, I know this is crazy, but they're asking $500. Your company's worth a couple $100,000. You know, let's pay the $500 and get you back online. And that's what we did. And it took us a couple days, but we actually went through the process, paid the money, and got them back online, and then went back and scraped everything, made sure we secured everything, got them backed up and everything. But the funny part about this, Joel, is we went to pay the ransom, and they sent us a key that did not work. And we were like, oh, crap, you know, here we go. But on the email that they sent the key to us, they had a phone number, an international phone number. I picked up the phone, I called the number, and on the other end of the line was a really nice gentleman that was in their help desk of this ransomware company. And they said, I am so sorry about the inconvenience, sir. I will generate you a new key right away, and we will get this fixed. And so they sent me a new key, and then they sent me a PDF in that email, and they said, hey, this is how you protect your company from ransomware. We don't want you to get hit ever again. It's almost like a service. It's crazy.
Did you catch them?
They were actually out of Africa, from what we could tell. No way for us to really catch them. We did, you know, send all the information we could to the FBI and let them take it to wherever they needed to go. But
so what you're saying, Nick, is I need to call you first, because if I'm running a small town hardware store and I'm selling nuts and bolts and hammers, this is out of my league. And so can you help me before all the crap hits the fan?
You know, it's not just me. There's all over the U.S. great little companies that do IT services, but we can definitely help. But you want to get involved with them. You know, make sure you're getting your systems updated. Make sure you have virus scan protection. And most of all, educate your folks that work for you on the threat of email. Email is the easiest way for me to download ransomware into my system. In fact, in that case that I talked about earlier, Joel, the CEO was the one that actually unleashed the ransomware.
Oh,
he got an email from what appeared to be UPS, and he was waiting for a part for a critical piece of equipment. And he's like, I'm clicking on that because it's going to tell me when that part's getting here. Unbeknownst to him, though, that was not an actual email from UPS. And when he clicked on that, it downloaded the ransomware payload, and the rest is history.
It could have happened to any one of us. It really could have. Nick Powers with Uncommon. Thank you, sir. Thanks for taking the time with us.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me today, Joel. And if anybody does need help from us, we have an email address you can send an inquiry to. It's called cyber, C-Y-B-E-R, hack, H-A-C-K, at uncommon.com, UNCOMN.com, and we'll be happy to help. We can refer you to local groups that can help you, or we can help you ourselves. We're just here to help.
Okay, and if you go to Beck News, we'll make sure that that's put there, and you can have a link there. So it'll be a link you can trust. How's that?
Absolutely.
Nick, good to have you on. Thank you, sir. When we come back, we're going to get a chance to go to NDSU. Kylie Hall is going to join us. She's with NDSU's Department of Public Health Center for Immunization. Gee, what do you think we're going to talk about with Kylie? Stick around as we keep heading down the road.
Howdy folks, it's a Colonial Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our Hey-Boss and breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at our salad bar, sink your teeth into our famous Colonial burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spoon-rattling pie with a calm roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Hi, it's me, Anthony Sullivan. And yes, you've actually caught me at home relaxing, because life's been pretty worry-free since I got coverage with American Residential Warranty.
You won't believe what ARW covers. Heating and air conditioning, washers and dryers, kitchen appliances, plumbing, water heaters, electrical systems, flat screens and laptops, even pools and spas, and so much more.
Call American Residential Warranty. They'll get you covered.
1-800-219-1467.
Hi, Hunter Ellis here for Night Hero Binoculars by Atomic Beam. These binoculars let you see anything, even in pitch black darkness. Gotcha.
The secrets are powerful wide-angle atomic beam laser
that reveals objects up to 150 yards away, hidden by darkness. During the day, Night Hero gives you 10 times magnification. And when the sun goes down, press the Night Bright button to see clearly in the dark. Light up garbage-eating critters or spot thieves before they even get close. Call or click now and get Night Hero binoculars for just $39.99. Order right now and you can double it. Plus, get our best-selling atomic beam flashlight. Just pay a separate fee. We'll even ship them to you free. This TV special offer is not available on Amazon. You can get it all, but you have to order now.
Call 1-800-619-1091. That's 1-800-619-1091. Or visit bynighthero.com. That's bynighthero.com. Order now.
Attention, have you or a loved one suffered from maculopathy, a serious retinal injury, after taking the prescription drug Elmiron for interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome? In 2018, a researcher at the Emory School of Medicine linked Elmiron, a prescription drug that treats interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome, to maculopathy, which is sight-threatening and can cause an abrupt change of vision. Call Elmiron Justice for a free legal consultation.
Please call 800-395-5680.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms. This drug remains approved by the FDA. If you or a loved one regularly took Zantac and were later diagnosed with cancer, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. Potential cancers include bladder cancer, colon cancer, kidney cancer, stomach cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic cancer. Do not stop taking a prescribed medication without first consulting with your doctor. Discontinuing a prescribed medication without your doctor's advice can result in injury or death.
Call 1-800-230-9210.
Hey, thanks for staying down the road with us. She's one of the smart ones, ladies and gentlemen. Kylie Hall is with NDSU's Department of Public Health Center for Immunization, Research, and Education, which means they've got to use an acronym for that. That's a long title. But she is one of those individuals that have helped out so much during this whole process. Kylie, good to have you coming down the road with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me today, Joel.
Talk to me about where we are. We've got 12 to 15-year-olds now that people are looking at, and it's just Pfizer. Why is it just Pfizer?
Yep, great question. So Pfizer is the first pharmaceutical company that has data that has been approved by the FDA and the CDC for use in 12 to 15-year-olds. Moderna is studying it in that age group. We expect to have their data soon, so we could have another vaccine available for that age group. But right now, that's the only vaccine company that has been approved for use in that population.
So, Carly, if people told me all along, I'm trying to put myself in a position where I'm thinking as though I'm a parent of a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old versus being the parent of a 37 and a 36-year-old like I am. But I got grandkids almost that age. So it would beg this question. It feels as though parents have been told all along that their children are not at risk, that this isn't something that they should fear when it comes to their children. So it begs the question, why would I get that 12 or 13-year-old immunized?
So I think that question has a couple different answers. So one, while children are low risk, they're not no risk. Children are, less likely to die from COVID than their older counterparts, but they can still have long-term side effects from COVID. Things like memory loss and fatigue do happen in our younger population. Also, when you look at that 12 to 15, that adolescent population, we know that they need to be in school. They need to be doing activities. They need to be socializing with their peers. It's a very formative time in their lives, and COVID has disrupted that for them. And so if we can give them a safe and effective vaccine, which will keep them in school, it will keep them in football or drama or whatever it might be, I think it's only beneficial to give them the option to get that vaccine if they want it. And further, a lot of these children who are adolescents have individuals in their life who are high risk, whether it might be a mom with cancer or a grandparent that they want to keep safe. This is another group of people that we can vaccinate. It'll help stop transmission in our community, and it'll keep their family members and loved ones safe.
My granddaughter plays basketball, and she keeps getting older every time I see her. But I have to ask this. She's still not as big as her mother, and she's still not as big as her father, and she's still this small, young girl. And so how do you know and others know that you have the dosage right? Does it matter that she's young? and a smaller size?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's a good question. So that is something that they try and sort out in the clinical trials. So the Pfizer vaccine, you get 0.3 mils. It's a very small amount of vaccine, and it's been shown to be safe and effective in that age group. Now, as they go down in age, it is possible that the dosage could change or the concentration of the vaccine could change. But the clinical trials right now look to be showing that the vaccine is safe in that age group, even for 12-year-olds who are fairly small in stature.
You know, Kylie, are they going to go down in age, or do they stop at 12? I mean, is this something where, you know, when you're born, they already start looking at, hey, I've got to give her the polio shot, I've got to give her the measles shot, those type of things. I mean, is 12 where it stops, I guess is my question.
Great question. So we are currently enrolling children 6 months and older in vaccine studies for Pfizer and Moderna. If the vaccine is shown to be safe and effective, then the FDA can approve that product. But then it'll go to the CDC's advisory committee, which makes recommendations for use. And it could be that it's an optional vaccine. It could be that children with certain high-risk conditions get that vaccine, or it could be that it's recommended for all age groups. And so I don't know what the data is going to show as far as safety and efficacy, and I don't know what the CDC will ultimately recommend for use. But they consider things like how cost-effective is it to vaccinate millions of children when you have, you know, only a certain number of adverse outcomes like death in young children. But they also consider things like, are there high-risk conditions which we need to vaccinate those children for? So there's a number of factors that go into vaccinating young children. The vaccine is being studied in that age group, and we anticipate it could be available as early as the end of this year.
See, to me, knowing that we were probably going to get there anyway, that if I would have had a high-risk, you know, 10-year-old or 9-year-old right now, I would have been knocking on your door. I would have been saying, look, I know this is something you haven't approved yet, but can't you take a look at my son or my daughter? Because that individual is going to be they're already at risk. I mean, they're what we're going to put them through with a vaccine that we know, number one, works, and we know, number two, has a very, very small percentage of an adverse reaction that it's working, for lack of a better way to put it. I want my 10-year-old to have it. Have they at all been able to to get that, Kylie?
Yeah, so with the emergency use authorization, we're not allowed to vaccinate anybody younger than 12 currently, but it could be that, you know, another group of children is eligible at some point during this year. I think it just underlines the importance of getting everybody vaccinated who's eligible. The more we get that 12 to 15-year-old or, you know, anybody older than 12 now vaccinated, it's one less opportunity for that virus to spread in our community. And that does ultimately protect our high-risk 10-year-old or our young child with cancer. This is a group effort. And we know that this virus does spread among kids, so there's even more importance for vaccinating them. And like I said, I anticipate a vaccine probably available by the end of the year.
So I remember when there was a big debate over whether or not a 16, 17-year-old should be able to decide whether they can donate blood. You know, and parents were saying, nope, they can't, or at least I should have a say one way or another. And I know a number of 17-year-olds say, no, I should be able to donate blood when I want, which is welcome to teenagers. You know, and quite frankly, as somebody who donates blood, I have a strong opinion about how independent they should be allowed to be. That being said, if a 15-year-old knocks on the door and says, I want the shot, I want to be immunized, should they be allowed to, or could they without approval of their parent?
It probably depends on the state that they live in. In North Dakota, I don't know if a 15-year-old could go to their pediatrician or their primary care provider and ask to be vaccinated. Excuse me, but it probably does depend on the state in which they live. There might be states that allow it.
One more for you.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the experts are talking about July 4th. Amy Klobuchar today tweeted out that Minnesota is very close to that 70% mark. I made the argument on the radio that here in North Dakota, where I live, if you're not vaccinated and you're 16 years of age or up, or let's say 20 years of age or up, and you're not vaccinated, it's because you don't want to be vaccinated. And so why, for example, at Memorial Day then, shouldn't all of us be able to bust out and say, look, this thing's behind us. We know there's going to be cases of it, but this thing's behind us now.
Yeah. So I think you have to remember that the virus doesn't respect borders. And so we need to give everybody a chance to get the vaccine that wants it. And then they need to be able to get both doses if they need both doses, depending on the brand. And then they need 2 weeks to build immunity. And so I think in the United States, we will get to that point here in the very near future. Many places have already vaccinated everybody who wants it. I still think we have a really big opportunity to engage our healthcare providers and use them to be making personalized recommendations when people come into the doctor's office. People listen to their primary care provider. They know them, they know their health status. And if that primary care provider makes that strong recommendation, we think we can get more people vaccinated. Now, will we get there before July 4th? I don't know that we'll hit 70% here. I think places like Minnesota might do it. Many places in the Northeast are already there. And I think you're going to see here in North Dakota, we're going to continue to have cases of COVID because not enough people are vaccinated. And that's unfortunate because vaccinated people will ultimately end up getting COVID too. We'll have some breakthrough cases, and those could be eliminated if we could get everybody vaccinated.
And you may not want to be stereotypical, but most of the individuals that don't want to be vaccinated are West River. And so we're trying to push really hard on my radio show, and I'll do it right here on Beck News. For those folks that are listening, West River, please take a serious look at this, because the quicker we get to that number, the less argument I think people will have. And it's my own personal belief, Kylie, that, come Memorial Day, they're going to break out. I mean, some of them have already broke out. You know that. Thank you. And thanks to everybody at NDSU. I appreciate you taking time with us.
Yeah, thanks, Joel.
When we come back, Governor Doug Burgum joins us. We're going to get a chance to visit with the governor about how the legislative session went, how much weight he lost, how much Kevlar he had to wear. We'll talk to him about it when we come back right here down the road.
Hey everybody, I'm Doug Billings, your host of The Right Side with Doug Billings on Beck News. We bring you high-profile guests, ladies and gentlemen, exclusive guests. Now, you're not going to see these guests in most of the mainstream media outlets. Another thing that I do here is give guests a platform to speak freely. You're not going to see me censor anybody. Please join us, won't you? Weeknights right here on Beck TV and online at beck.news. Cheers.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream sheets. When you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Introducing the Cool Turtle, the ultra-comfortable mask enhancer that creates a protective, cool, and breathable space between your mask and your face. Simply slide under any mask or gaiter and immediately feel the refreshing pocket of air surrounding your face. Cool Turtle's ergonomically designed, soft, comfortable shell immediately reduces mask friction, allowing you to breathe and talk in a comfortable environment.
I can actually breathe. With the Cool Turtle, no more sweating.
It's like I don't even have a mask on.
Call now and get not one, not two, but 3 Cool Turtles for just $10. Order now and we'll send you 2 more Cool Turtles free. No fees, absolutely free. Plus, you can get a 10-pack of 4-ply face masks. Just pay a separate fee. This offer is not available on Amazon. Get the real Cool Turtle now.
Call 1-800-270-1219. That's 1-800-270-1219. Or visit getcoolturtle.com. Order now.
We're the ladies of Another View, bringing you a fresh view on local issues.
Thank you for your patience and understanding.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that the most condescending, rude email you've ever received?
Well, welcome to
National
the third term of a certain president. I really believe that.
And different perspectives you won't get on the mainstream media. Watch us weekday afternoons at 4:30 Central Time on Beck News and at beck.news.
Hey Bucks fans, if you're planning an outing, birthday, or employee appreciation night, then bring your group out to the Buck Stop for a night of fast-paced, high-scoring football. Your group will receive discounted tickets, options for reserved seating, scoreboard messages, VIP services, swag, and a space to gather during the game. You can also participate in pre-game ceremonies, halftime entertainment, in-game contests, and more. Call 701-595-0771 or visit bismarckbucks.com/tickets. All GA is first come, first serve. We'll see you on the turf. Go Bucks!
Governor Burgum's going to join us in just a bit. We'll talk to him again about the legislative session, how it ended, the vetoes that he had to offer, some of the stuff that he agreed with, and, you know, the supermajority that he finds himself with, how that's affecting the overall goals that he has as a state, because the Bastiat caucus is running all over the state, taking on existing, what I would call not necessarily moderate, you know, some of them are conservative, but they don't drink the Kool-Aid these guys want. And so they're going after the moderate to some of the progressive Republicans that are out there that are advocating on behalf of their colleges, their campuses, and, you know, I would argue roads, bridges, those type of things. And so we'll get a chance to talk about that. But I'm gonna hit you with Liz Cheney. What are her motivations? What is she doing here? Is she already running for president? Is she running for that time that that everybody wakes up and realizes what Donald Trump is, and so she then can be the one that say she knew a long time ago. She's the one that knew a long time ago. Why the heck aren't we, or didn't we, or shouldn't we have listened to her? Is that what she's doing? Well, here's my answer. I don't care. I don't care. All I know is she's got the brains to do it. All I know is maybe it's just pure patriotism, because I can absolutely guarantee you this. She is the lone member of the United States Congress from the state of Wyoming. And when she gets back to the state of Wyoming, there are going to be people at her house protesting. There are going to be people that go to every public forum she has, because Wyoming is about as conservative, if not more, than the state of North Dakota. And believe me, try to go anywhere. I don't care if you're watching me near Dickinson or Williston or Minot or Bismarck. You want me to name more? Anywhere you go, you're going to see a pickup with a Trump bumper sticker on it, right? This is Trump country. This is big time Trump country. And so I can vouch for the fact of what it's like to have the courage to take him on. Now, not on a national platform like Liz Cheney has done, but doesn't make you very popular. You can go into any small town bar and somebody's going to jump you. That's right. They're going to get after you. They're going to find an argument. They're going to ask you why you don't love America. They're going to ask you why you don't love the flag, even though it was Trump supporters that were bludgeoning a law enforcement officer with a flag, even though it was Trump supporters that were walking around the Capitol with a Confederate flag, when the other flag, our flag, the flag of freedom and the flag of liberty, was the flag that took on that Confederate flag. And so those things are there. These folks, it's Jim Jones. They have drank the Kool-Aid, and there is nothing that Donald Trump could do, nothing that he could do that would make them take a second look and not vote for him. They love him. And so when a Liz Cheney stands up, when a Liz Cheney, is willing to take on Donald Trump, take on that establishment, and do what she's doing, and send the word that he's lying, that he incited the insurrection, and that the election wasn't stolen, that it is the big lie. She had the courage to do that. And so I don't care whether or not she's running for president. I don't care. Liz Cheney and I are so different politically. She would never vote for me, and I would never vote for her. That doesn't mean I can't respect her at the times when it's the most important, like this. And I do respect her. I do respect the fact that she was willing to do what this nation needed and say that the emperor has no clothes on. It takes guts. It takes guts. It's probably going to cost her her congressional seat. Now, here's another part of this. It was a voice vote. Now, Kelly Armstrong has come out, the lone congressman from North Dakota, and said he voted to remove her. You know what? The congressman from South Dakota didn't. Both mirrored images of each other, both conservative states. I got to tell you, I'd be awful proud of that South Dakota congressman for not taking and throwing Liz Cheney under the bus. He didn't necessarily agree with everything she said or her all the time, but he wasn't going to make her the scapegoat. He wasn't going to put her in a position where she's completely wrong. And you know what? He maybe knows who was the force and the power and the encouragement behind that insurrection, because Donald Trump was. We're going to take a little break. Governor Doug Burgum's going to join us. If he comes a little late, you're going to see him walk behind me. You're going to see him sit in that chair. So you know what? That's the great thing about TV, the way we're doing it. We're going to make sure you get it right after this, right here on Beck News.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Giza Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors. Use your promo code, and for a limited time, when you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms. This drug remains approved by the FDA. If you or a loved one regularly took Zantac and were later diagnosed with cancer, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. Potential cancers include bladder cancer, colon cancer, kidney cancer, stomach cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic cancer. Do not stop taking a prescribed medication without first consulting with your doctor. Discontinuing a prescribed medication without your doctor's advice can result in injury or death.
Call 1-800-230-9210.
Seniors, are you aware that you could pay less for your car insurance?
Seniors can save money on their car insurance.
You might save a little, you might save a lot.
Maybe hundreds of dollars a year.
You might save 5% a year, maybe 10%, 15%, or even more.
That's a lot of money. So call right now and find out just how much money you might be able to save.
1-800-699-0761. 1-800-699-0761.
Hi, it's me, Anthony Sullivan. And yes, you've actually caught me at home relaxing, because life's been pretty worry-free since I got coverage with American Residential Warranty.
You won't believe what ARW covers. Heating and air conditioning, washers and dryers, kitchen appliances, plumbing, water heaters, electrical systems, flat screens and laptops, even pools and spas, and so much more.
Call American Residential Warranty. They'll get you covered.
1-800-219-1467.
Pack the house in honor of North Dakota's heroes with Bucks Football Saturday, May 15th, as the Bucks go to battle against the Green Bay Blizzard. Help us honor Gold Star families, wounded warriors, and veterans alike. All veterans and family general admission tickets are free with military ID. Call 701-595-0771 for tickets and more information.
As I mentioned, we're going to get Governor Burgum in. When he comes through the door, we're going to slide him back around, and you're going to see the governor of the great state of North Dakota sit directly to my right. And then we'll get a chance to ask him a couple questions in regards to this legislative session. That being said, how do you grade it? How do you feel the North Dakota legislature did this session? I've been very critical of the Bastiat caucus just because of the lack of a better way of putting it, the lack of common sense it has when it comes to a number of these issues. But the one thing I do respect out of them is when they, it's when they take on some of the big budget items. but they don't win. They don't win. And they're not consistent about those. They're really not. They're willing to take government money whenever it's good for them. And so, I'm going to give you an example. And you're going to say, well, there he is picking a fight again. It's just the truth. This isn't about him personally. Maybe it might be about him personally. You see Rick Becker, state representative, come on this very network. Well, Rick owns, he owns a clinic that does plastic surgery. That's what cosmetic is the word they want me to use. Okay, I'll use that word so I don't tick him off too bad. He also owns a number of bars. And so when the bars probably, actually cosmetic surgery was probably another one, but they took a little hit during this COVID crisis. Nobody was rushing out to the bars, even though the bar was in Bismarck. He probably had more business, but of course you had rules that went along with it. And so then the PPP money comes. Now let me explain where that grant money, they can call it a loan, they can call it whatever they want. It's a grant. It's money you got based upon this, that, and the other thing. And so it's a grant. Let me explain where that came from. Oh, wait a second. You already know where it came from. The government. That's where it came from. And who's the government? It's you and I. And so it came from us. It came from me as a taxpayer. Now, I'm okay with him doing what everybody else did. I'm just not okay with him telling people they can't do what everybody else did, that they have to live with this certain standard that he has when it comes to government funds and when it comes to government programs. Because if you truly believe in it, if that's your message, that the government shouldn't get involved, that we need less spending, that there should be less government, that the smaller the government is, the better, then why would you be the first one at the trough? Right? Why would you be the first one sitting there making sure you're at the trough, getting every piece you can and saying, look, that's just business. That's the way it is. I'd be foolish not to take it. I own a business, ladies and gentlemen. That business has a couple of separate interests, and I've invested in some other things that involve business. I didn't take it. I didn't take it. And I'm proud of the fact I didn't take it. And one of the reasons that I didn't take it was because I wanted to be able to look into this camera and talk to you and say I didn't take it. Now, is that good financial business on my part? Probably not. But I will tell you this, the money that I borrowed to pay off that business and to invest in that business, I will make that payment. I will. The individuals that help me in that business, they will get paid. They will. And so I'm surviving. I'm alive. And my business that I'm involved with is a business that did suffer during the pandemic. So no apologies here on being not a hypocrite. Now, one other thing. We're having a hard time getting workers to come back to work. There's an argument that, the $300 extra they get per week of unemployment, that they shouldn't get that $300 a week. Okay? Well, I understand it. It's time to go back to work. It really is. But there's two questions raised there. Number one, should they get it? That's the question. I don't believe they should. I don't. But the bigger question out of it is the second question, which is why. Because I don't believe they're lazy. I don't believe that they don't have the work ethic. I don't. They are just individuals that are put in a position where they are completely dependent of whatever you, the employer, pays him. Right? Now let me go back to what I just got done talking about. If you're bartending at Rick Becker's bar, is he going to pay you more now? I don't know the answer to that. In fairness to Rick, I don't know the answer to that. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I do know a lot of them aren't, and I do know a lot of them don't. And so if anything good comes out of this, maybe the workers out there can start making the case that if you're paying me $7.25 an hour, if you're paying me $10 an hour, that's basically $20,000 a year. $10 an hour is a little over $20,000 a year. What did we say when we were young? Double dog? I double dog dare you to live off $20,000 a year. And you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. Figure out how much it costs to rent an apartment. Figure out how much it costs to do A, B, C, D. You're not going to do it. And you're going to say, well, they don't need cable TV. Don't figure that into the equation. Don't figure that into the equation at all. You're going to say, well, wait a second. These are just young people getting started. Studies have proven that's not true. That's not true. These are individuals in many cases that have no political power. They are in a situation where they are vulnerable. That's right. They are individuals where they are the most easily hit by attitude when it comes to business. And so the first thing I would do if I'm looking at the employers who are saying these people won't come back to work, all they want is that additional $300, is I'd look what they're paying them. I would. I'd look at what they're paying them. And then I'd form my opinion about whether or not that business owner, that business manager was right or wrong. And so I beg you to do that. I beg you to sit there when they start complaining about they won't come back to work, they won't do this, they won't do that. I beg of you to sit there and say, all right, what are you paying them? What's the average salary here? What's the low end salary here? Because in the case of that bar owner, he got PPP money. So if truly your philosophy on government is trickle down, right? It's, don't be afraid to have money at the top because it's going to trickle down and everybody benefits from those on the top having it. Do they? Do they? The one reason I voted for Joe Biden is he understands the middle class. He does. He understands that good old-fashioned worker, that union worker, for lack of a better way of putting it, that worker that collectively bargains and goes out there and advocates on behalf of those that labor. He gets that. He understands that. You get that by hopping in a train every night and going home to make sure you're a father to your family. And I realize that's about proximity, but he never forgot from where he was from. And so I would have to make an argument this, ladies and gentlemen, that for any employer in the world that tells me he has workers that won't come back to work, I'd ask him what he pays. I'd ask him what he pays. And I think what you're going to find out is money that you can't live on. And then ask him the age. Don't sit there and say, well, that's just some kid in a summer job making an ice cream cone, because it's not. It's not. We can start thinking of and naming professions in our head right now where that happens. Skilled labor, too. Skilled labor, because that might be the only access in their community, in their area, and quite frankly, in their group. And by their group, I mean this. Not everyone is born to be a surgeon. Not everyone is born to be an attorney. Not everyone is born to work at NASA. So why is that a bad thing? How many of you are? Right? And then also, I want you to step back and take a look at yourself and say, what have I received in terms of federal dollars? What have I received? How much have I gotten? Quite honestly. A number of you are farmers. And I think farmers do better than ranchers. I do. But a number of you are farmers. Okay. Federal crop insurance. All for it. Love it. I don't want you going broke. Not just because you're wearing a tuxedo in my wedding and you're my friend. I don't want you going broke. I don't want you going broke because then I go broke. That's pure economy. But I think that we need to understand, ladies and gentlemen, we need to be honest with ourselves enough that we take a serious look at the fact that that's a federal subsidy. That's a federal subsidy. And I think we could continue to go down different line items of where that's true, of definitely where that's true. So let's not be hypocrites, and let's do what we can to raise the minimum wage. Boy, you hate that, don't you? Many of you just cringe when you hear that. So you don't want them to come back to work because they're getting too much money from unemployment, but you know what? When they come back, you'll pay them a fair wage. You'll pay them. It's not true. It's not true for many of you. For some of you it is, and I'm not trying to insult you, but for those of you who are sitting there saying, this is $10 an hour and this is a good start job for them. It's a good start job for them. Okay, well, have you lived in an apartment? And if you tell me the answer is, well, they should bunk up. They should have 2-3 people in the apartment. Okay? Okay. And then they're supposed to be better parents too, right? They're supposed to have that baby and support that baby and make the choices that you had when you had that baby and do all of these things. Oh, by the way, do all of that with 2 jobs. Because now we've got to recycle, right? We got 40 hours or maybe 45, so it isn't 10. You know, it can be 15 with the overtime. Now we got to do all of that along with it. I don't know what to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, except for this. I don't blame them for not going back to work, and I encourage that $300 to be taken away because that's the way it's supposed to work. And then we can make decisions based upon that. But I do believe this. I do believe that for many of you, you need to pay them more. And if you don't, you're the last person in the world I'm going to listen to when you make an argument that they absolutely owe it to you to come back to work. I get to have the right then to ask you what you pay them. You don't like that, do you? When we come back, we didn't tie in with the governor. I'm sorry about that. We'll do it another day. When we come back, some closing comments for you right here as we go down the road.
Do you worry about going to the dentist? After all, a visit to the dentist can easily cost $2,000 or more. Well, relax. The Carefree dental card is now available in your area. Call now and we'll send your actual card at no cost today. With the Carefree dental card, you go to the dentist whenever you need and you instantly pay a lot less. Activate your card and you can start using it immediately. From exams and cleanings to more expensive procedures like crowns, dentures, even braces, they're all included with the Carefree dental card. Say you go to the dentist today without any card and your bill is, well, ouch. Wait a minute, let's try that again. You go to the dentist today and show your Carefree dental card, you save $525. The Carefree dental card is just $15.95 a month, so call now and make going to the dentist carefree.
Call 1-800-416-5739 to receive your Carefree dental card information kit. 1-800-416-5739. Call now.
I can't say enough good things about these nano hearing aids.
Real people talking about nano hearing aids.
The hearing quality is great.
Until now, hearing aids used to be too expensive for the average person. Until nano. Call now and you'll get your nano hearing aids for only $297. You'll save $100. When you buy one hearing aid, Nano will give you a second hearing aid free. Call right now.
1-800-213-3815.
Spas, etc.
You've come to know and trust us for over 18 years with the largest selection and showroom in Western North Dakota for our beautiful Sundance spas. Plus, you could pick out your next home experience with our selection of pool tables, shuffleboards, and fun accessories.
Spas, etc. Your relaxation destination on Main and Bismarck.
Who do you trust with your digital life? Not all cloud backup providers keep your data truly private. Beck Cloud Backup uses advanced multi-layer encryption to keep your family photos, videos, and sensitive business documents secure and only for your eyes. Your Beck Lightband Internet service already includes 50 gigs of free storage to keep your digital life safe and secure. Call us at 701-475-2361 to start using your Beck Cloud Backup today.
Attention! Have you or a loved one suffered from maculopathy, a serious retinal injury, after taking the prescription drug Elmiron for interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome? In 2018, a researcher at the Emory School of Medicine linked Elmiron, a prescription drug that treats interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome, to maculopathy, which is sight-threatening and can cause an abrupt change of vision. Call Elmiron Justice for a free legal consultation.
Please call 800-395-5680.
Well, you want to tell the truth, and I always strive for that. So I told you the governor was going to be on today. He's not. We're going to get him on tomorrow. We're going to get a chance to visit with Governor Burgum and make sure that we get him on tomorrow so you can hear what his plans are for the state post-session and how he felt the session went. But imagine this scenario. Don's Hardware. Think of that. Don's Hardware, Morton, North Dakota. It's no longer there because you couldn't keep a hardware store going in a town as small as Morton. But Don and my dad were best friends. And Don sold TVs, and he sold used TVs. And Ray and Doreen Heitkamp didn't have a lot. They didn't. And so we were used to black and white when everybody else had color. In fact, we went to other homes to watch The Wizard of Oz because we never really knew when it went from black and white to color. I sat there as a little kid in front of that small black and white TV every time the Vikings were on. I was addicted that bad. And I still, if you go to my little man cave, it's sick how much Viking stuff is there. So being a Democrat in North Dakota, I've learned how to deal with disappointment by being a Vikings fan first. Okay? So keep this in mind. Now I'm a season ticket holder of the Minnesota Vikings. Where I live, in proximity to downtown Minneapolis, I go through Elbow Lake, Wendell, that way, and I'm in downtown Minneapolis in just a hair over 3 hours. So it's no big deal for me to head down and go to a game. So I'm going over the Viking schedule. And we've got at Cincinnati. Well, tough. We've got at Arizona. I think we win that one. We've got Seattle in our place. Sure would like to be Seattle once. We've got Cleveland in our house. We're going to win that. Detroit in our house. We're going to win that. At Carolina, I might be going to that game. I work with Tyler Axness. You see him on this show. Big Panther fan. So believe me, I'm hoping we take that one. We got a bye. For sure we'll win that one. We take Dallas on at home. I think we win that one. We go to Baltimore. Might not watch that game. Los Angeles Chargers. As was pointed out to me by the guys I work with here at Beck, there'll be more Vikings fans there than Chargers. So we'll win that one. Green Bay at home. They probably won't have a quarterback. We'll take that one. San Fran, at San Fran, toss a coin. By then, there might be a young quarterback from NDSU on. Pittsburgh, at home, we'll win that. At Chicago, we never win that. Los Angeles Rams in the house. Who knows? I like our chances. Then at Green Bay, I still like our chances. Then we got one more with Chicago. So we're going to make the playoffs. Write it down. We're going to make the playoffs. We'll see you tomorrow right here. Good riding with you, folks.